Dr. B explains the DRIs and energy recommendations. Being healthy depends on getting enough of the essential nutrients, but also not overdoing it. The dietary reference intakes, or DRIs, help to guide our intake of vitamins and minerals. The estimated energy requirements and the acceptable macronutrient distribution ranges help to ensure that we get enough calories, but not too much, and guides us on where those calories should come from. The DRIs are a set of nutrient intake values for healthy people in the US and Canada. The values are used for planning and assessing diets and are divided into 4 categories. They include the estimated average requirements, the recommended dietary allowances, adequate intakes, and tolerable upper intake levels. Let's first take a look at the estimated average requirements, or EARs. Each person is unique, and the need for certain nutrients can be different for men versus women and young versus old. EARs are the average daily amount of a nutrient that will maintain specific biological and physiological functions in half of the healthy population of a specific age and gender group. Of course, not all nutrient recommendations can be as specific as the EARs. Scientific study is constantly expanding our knowledge, but much still needs to be learned. That said, once a nutrient requirement is known, a recommended intake for everyone is established. This is known as the nutrient's recommended dietary allowance, or RDA. RDAs are the average daily amount of a nutrient that is considered adequate to meet the known nutrient needs of practically all healthy people. Keep in mind, however, that as smart as we'd like to think we are, we don't know everything. Adequate intakes, or AIs, are established when there isn't enough data known about a nutrient to make more specific recommendations. AIs are the average daily amount of a nutrient that appears to be sufficient to meet the needs of all healthy people based on the average intake of specific groups. Unlike the RDAs, or AIs, a tolerable upper intake level, or UL, is established to determine the maximum daily amount of a nutrient that is safe for most healthy people. Contrary to what some people believe, you can get too much of a good thing. Knowing the ULs of nutrients can be very helpful when people pop vitamin pills like candy and might be at risk for reaching toxic levels of a nutrient. In addition to knowing how much of the vitamins and minerals we need, we also need to understand how many calories we need to consume to stay in good health without consuming too much. The estimated energy requirement, or EER, is the average dietary energy intake that helps maintain good health and energy levels in a person based on their age, gender, weight, height, and level of physical activity. There are different formulas for determining estimated energy needs, and shown here are just a couple. Note that in the equation, the PEA refers to the physical activity factor, something most people overestimate. Keep in mind that most formulas only give an estimated amount of required energy. In addition to knowing how many calories we should eat, we also need to know where those calories should be coming from. Calories from food and beverages come from carbohydrates, fats, and protein. We also get calories from alcohol, but since it's not an essential nutrient, we don't discuss it in the context of recommendations. Carbohydrates supply 4 calories per gram, as does protein. Fat supplies more than twice that amount. It supplies 9 calories per gram. The recommendations to ensure we get enough of the other nutrients from food without contributing to the development of chronic disease are called the Acceptable Macronutrient Distribution Ranges, or AMDR. According to the AMDR, 45 to 65% of our calories in our diet should come from carbohydrates, 20 to 35% of our calories should come from fat, and 10% to 35% from protein. Keep in mind that not everyone will need to meet the high range for a particular nutrient. For example, if you are very sedentary, you might aim for 45 to 50% of your calories coming from carbohydrates and only 20% coming from fats. However, if you are an endurance athlete, you'd want your intake of carbohydrates to be on the high end. When determining how many grams of each macronutrient you need to eat to satisfy percent recommendations for daily intake, you first need to determine how many calories for that macronutrient you need to obtain from your overall calorie intake for the day. For example, if you needed to eat 2,000 calories for the day and 60% needed to come from carbohydrate sources, then you would need to multiply 2,000 by 0.60 or 60% to learn that you need 1,200 calories coming from that macronutrient. To determine how many grams that you would need to eat to get that amount, divide the 1,200 by 4. Remember, there are 4 calories to each gram of carbohydrate. To conclude that you would need to eat 300 grams of carbohydrate to satisfy your 60% of 2,000 calories. One last thing. It is important to remember that these are recommendations for healthy individuals. They may not always be appropriate for those facing diseases or other situations that may alter their nutrient requirements.